Hello everybody, and welcome to some more DGS2 content. This is the last bits of content that I have left to do. Welcome. It's been several months since I actually sat down to record, since we had a very long delay just to get down Case 5. So it's been a while, for me at least. It may not feel like it's been a while for you guys, but it has been for me. Forgive me. So today, we still have one asinine episode left to cover. Is it an asinine episode? I really don't know what it's really called, but it's much more in tune to the main series asinine episodes than they are to the DGS1 extra content that you got. I've already gone through the Japan side. That one was literally the first thing we recorded before we got into the case. So now we're down to the London side of the story, which obviously focuses on Sherlock and Barok. I waited until the end of DGS2 to record this because there's some stuff in this one I feel people would appreciate more if we waited. And when I glanced at the script, it looks like it happened while Naruhodō was still banned from standing in court. At least from what I'm seeing in the script right now. So that gives you a general idea of the timeline. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. There's other things I want to talk about with it, but we'll get into it when we, get into it a little bit more. I don't know how the volume is. I think it's okay. We will see. I don't know what this says. Probably some disclaimer. May or may not be canon. Usually, it looks like a disclaimer. Unspecified month and day, 9:52 in the morning at the Old Bailey Defendant's Lobby.
Oh, Naruhodō-kun, I'll be counting on you today.
I'm really sorry, Iris-chan. I became a defense attorney, specifically for times like this, and yet... why did something like this have to happen after I was banned from defending in court?
Honestly, I never dreamed that someone would drag me to court like this. But I'm sure everything will be fine. After all, like Holmesy said.
You'll be fine, Iris! Leave everything to me! I've seen Mr. Naruhodō defend plenty of times. It'll be easy peasy. I'll definitely prove your innocence since we can't count on Naruhodō. Right. Sherlock is the defense. But there's a problem with how they approach that. I'm gonna put this down a little bit. Well, he talked a big game, but I don't see him anywhere. There's only 5 minutes until Iris-chan's trial starts.
Now, no need to worry. I'm sure he's just got sidetracked with catching some bad guys on his way over.
You make these bad guys sound as trifling as a cup of tea with breakfast.
More importantly, Naruhodō-kun, is that your pocket watch? I've never seen you with it before.
Ah, my phone. No, my phone is making noises. Yeah. I brought it from Japan, but forgot about it until just now. My uncle gave it to me as a present for getting accepted into university.
Huh. It looks like it's got all black.
Well, it was probably cheap. It was probably pretty cheap. It turned like this right away. I took this watch with me when I visited the hot springs with my friends, see? Well, there's your problem. And by the time we headed home, it had turned all black. It seemed like a waste to throw it away, though, so I decided to keep it.
I see.
That's simply dreadful, isn't it, Mr. Naruhodō? Holmes-san. A cheap, shabby thing like that doesn't suit an exchange student like you. You ought to just hand it over to this shabby detective. Come now, hurry. Sure, if you really want it.
Don't give it to him, Naruhodō-kun. That watch is very valuable and made of pure silver. Isn't that right, Holmesy?
Huh? Holmes! That's Iris for you! Looks like she saw right through me! What do you mean? This watch is pure silver? It was the sulfur. Sulfur? There are some natural hot springs whose water is supplied by sulfur springs. You're right. The area around those hot springs did have a pretty strong smell to them. And then, this is something that everyone in the world but you knows, apparently, but if silver is exposed to sulfur, it tarnishes and goes black. Huh? Really?
I'll shine it up for you real nice later.
Well, either way, that expensive, pure silver watch doesn't suit an exchange student like you. You do better to hand it over to the world-famous great detective. Now that makes a lot more sense. I'm sure this great detective would take it straight to the pawn shop. Well, I'm awfully sorry for having kept you waiting, folks. Actually, as I was on my way over here this morning, I ended up catching a bad guy and had to take him to the police.
Yeah, I figured it was something like that.
These two. I guess all I can say is, I should have expected as much. Mr. Devin Moosegrave, he's a younger brother of a certain big-time criminal. Have you heard of him? Of course I have. Well, I suppose it's not important now. Now then, why don't you start telling me about it, Iris? What exactly was it that you did to land yourself here?
Huh?
You don't know? Hey, even I can't provide a proper defense if I don't know what the charges are. But all that was included in the records I put together for you. Do you think he would actually read Naruhodō? I'm sure I gave them to you yesterday. Good grief. Now look here, Mr. Naruhodō. Now's no time to be chatting casually about things that happened yesterday. Ugh. Oh my god. Defendant, defense. It's time for the trial to convene. Proceed to the courtroom at once. I had a feeling this might happen. Alright, let's give this a go, shall we, folks?
Yeah, let's.
So yes, I'll be counting on you, Mr. Naruhodō.
Yeah, me too, Naruhodō-kun.
I thought Sherlock was supposed to save the day, but okay. My name is Naruhodō Ryūnosuke. I guess you can kind of call me a defense attorney. I'm an exchange student sent by Japan to study the great British judicial system. But I'm kind of on probation at the moment. During my last trial, I did something that a defense attorney must never do. But today, I'll be standing at the defense's bench again in London's Supreme Court as a legal aid to Attorney Sherlock Holmes. Attorney Sherlock Holmes. Now, okay, so here's my problem with this episode. So we are playing from Sherlock's perspective, technically, I think. We don't really play in his perspective is the problem. Like, you know, with the other episode, with the Japan one, you actually controlled Asogi for that one. For this one, you're still playing as Naruhodō, so I'm just kind of like, did they just kind of skimped on it because it's Sherlock Holmes and he's actually, you know, a popular fictional work? He's not an original character for this universe, so they just didn't want to do that? It just seems strange. I was kind of a little underwhelmed by that fact. Anyway, same day, 10:05 a.m., the Old Bailey Supreme Court.
Now then, in the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby declare court to be in session. We will now commence the fair and just trial of the defendant Iris Watson. Allow me to ask both the prosecution and defense. Are you both ready to present your cases?
The prosecution is ready.
Oh Oh, honestly. Surely that goes without saying. Well, give him the answer, Mr. Naruhodō. Huh? Yeah, we're ready. I think. And there you have it, Judgy. Judgy. What a pain. Mood.
What on earth are you doing here, amateur detective?
Whatever do you mean, Reapy?
Filthy hands that have been creeping about crime scenes have no business touching the Supreme Court's defense bench. This is a place for legal sparring. You don't belong here.
As far as I'm concerned, defending is nothing more remarkable than a yawn before breakfast. Uh-huh. And I always make sure to wash my hands before breakfast.
Mr. Holmes, it is currently 10:05 a.m. I heard that the reason the trial was getting off to a late start was because the defense was tardy.
Yes, pardon me. After all, on my way over, I ended up getting sidetracked catching a criminal and had to hand him over to the police.
A criminal?
Mr. Devin Moosegrave, the younger brother of a certain big-time criminal. Perhaps you know of him? Obviously we don't.
Did you say Devin Moosegrave?
Wait, you know him? In any case, personally, I couldn't just stand by silently and ignore an innocent young girl's cries for help.
Holmesy!
The girl I know would never commit such a fearsome crime as murder. Are you sure this case is about murder?
Murder?
This requires a bit of wine.
For the impropriety of reaching for the Lord's chalice after failing to find another outlet for my anger, I beg for your indulgence.
Holmes-san? This may be a very forward question, but... What is it, Mr. Naruhodō? We've only just started and you're already covered in cold sweat! It's still not too late. Please, take a look at the case files. If you touch the court record button, you can look through the information about the evidence. Tutorial mode Naruhodō. Quickly, before Prosecutor Van Zieks throws his Lord's chalice. At last, the court record! Why didn't you say so sooner? Please. Alright, let's look. I'm going to pause because there is actually a description for some of these, so I'm gonna put these in later. Alright, that's done. Let's check these. Okay, indictment summary. Plaintiff, Lord Barok Van Zieks. Defendant, Iris Watson. Charge, theft. Case outline. An important memento was stolen from plaintiff Lord Van Zieks' office. There is a witness who claims to have seen the defendant fleeing the scene of the crime at the time of the incident. Okay, so it was theft. Okay, oh, we have profiles too, so let's go in here. I'm gonna let this hover over. It looks like I'm the one he respects more. Okay, you keep telling yourself that, Holmes. Okay. Yeah, Naruhodō is still 23 in this, so... And then Barok, who's a year younger than Holmes. What the heck? It doesn't look like I'm the one he respects more than any. Okay. I love this. Anyway, but yeah, that's pretty much all we get on just his perspective per se. Anyway,
It seems that the court needs to confirm the details once more as well. Do you understand the charges clearly or not?
Oh, honestly. Surely that goes without saying. Well, give them our answer, Mr. Naruhodō. Huh? I kind of got the impression that we don't. Come on, you're supposed to say, we understand perfectly. Well, I don't know about you, Holmes, but I'm sure Naruhodō knows. Tell them yourself.
To think a defense attorney would dare set foot in the Supreme Court without even knowing what crime the defendant has been accused of. The only suitable punishment for such an atrocity would be submersion in hellfire.
Looks like we were too late, Mr. Naruhodō. He already threw his first chalice. Ugh. Has no one made a counter of how many times Barok has thrown the chalice through the all of 1 and 2? Because I'm really curious what the chalice number is.
Now then, answer us justice, amateur detective. What crime has the defendant Iris Watson been charged with?
Why, that's elementary, dear Reapy. Now, Mr. Naruhodō, give them our answer. Are you really gonna keep making me do this? If we check the information on the evidence in the court record, it should be obvious. The crime that the defendant Iris Watson has been charged with is serial murder, theft, treason. We're gonna play around with the wrong answer, so let's start with serial murder. It was, serial murder.
It sounds as though you've got yourself a rather thrilling roommate, oh great detective.
I can't believe I need to ask this, but what made you say that? Well, I've never been in this position before, so my head just kind of went blank. And I thought, if you're gonna say something, make it intense. So you went with serial murder.
You do well to add yourself to the list of victims.
Sorry. Now, give that answer one more shot for me, Mr. Naruhodō. Saturday, I'm really looking forward to hearing what you'll blurt out next. Just answer the question yourself. Okay, let's check it again. I think the treason is the bottom one, right? Yeah, treason is the bottom one. It might have been treason or something.
That's quite the destructive roommate you have there, great detective.
I can't believe I need to ask this, but what made you say that? Well, I've never been in this position before, so my head just kind of went blank. So I figured if Iris-chan were to commit a crime, it'd be something at least as serious as that.
It would seem that the only real rebel around here is you.
Sorry. Now, give that answer one more shot for me, Mr. Naruhodō. I'm looking forward to hearing it again. Why don't you answer the question yourself? Boo. Alright. Theft. According to the complaint, the defendant's crime was theft. What are you talking about, Mr. Naruhodō? Iris would never do such a thing. Surely even you know that. Tell that to the complaint letter.
Incidentally, several people witnessed the defendant's crime. Honestly, what must her parents be like if this is how she turned out?
This is a very awkward line now, just saying. About that, Barok. Rapey! I really don't think you should say such things so lightly.
Holmesy! Now then, Lord Van Zieks, please provide the court with an outline of the case. According to the complaint, the plaintiff in this case, in other words, the one who accused the defendant, was you yourself, was it not, Lord Barok Van Zieks?
What?
Personally, I don't wish to raise a lawsuit against this girl. However, the item that was stolen was something incredibly special to me.
Special?
It happened 3 days ago. The crime occurred at the prosecutor's office, in my office. I passed by my office on the way back from the Old Bailey, and there was the girl, standing there. When the girl noticed me, she turned and ran away, as if fleeing from me. It was without doubt Iris Watson.
Are you certain of that? She doesn't really have many distinguishing features, after all. Her hair is pink! Her whole body is one big distinguishing feature, if you ask me.
I only saw her for a moment, but there was no mistaking it. And I also saw her carrying a small package.
Package?
I had other things to attend to at the time, so I had no choice but to continue on my way. But I couldn't get rid of a strange, foreboding feeling, and when later I returned to my office...
You noticed that your special item was missing.
Precisely. My chalice had vanished.
Huh? But it's right there in your hand.
No, it wasn't this rubbish.
And it had no sentimental value considering he just broke it.
It was the first chalice I ever used in the Supreme Court, many years ago.
Huh?
That chalice had a special significance to me.
That's a rather unexpected tale. After all, no sooner do you produce your chalices than you toss them or crush them. I guess there are only two types of memories that could be associated with it. Do I throw it, or do I crush it?
I said that chalice was special.
Well, defendant? I didn't steal anything.
In that case, what was that package you were clutching at the time?
Huh?
It was a paper bag just about the right size and shape to fit my chalice.
Well, I don't remember. Honest.
You don't remember?
When I got back to Baker Street, I didn't have a package. I was kind of lost in thought at the time.
Iris?
In that case, do you admit to being at the prosecutor's office that day? Yes.
And what about breaking into my office?
Iris, what were you doing?
It seems that before we can pierce that little silence, we'll need to hear the eyewitness testimony.
Eyewitness.
There was one other person besides me who was on scene at the time of the crime.
In that case, the court will hear that witness's testimony.
As you wish. Then let us escort the witness to the stand.
And the cape's off. Mr. Naruhodō. Yes? I believe you already know this, but Iris is, of course, innocent. I can't anticipate what the truth will be at this point in time, but we mustn't allow that ruddy criminal to get away with this. Right. Of course not.
Now then, your name and occupation, witness.
Sir, I'm Tobias Gregson. I'm a detective at Scotland Yard.
Oh, she's making those puppy dog eyes!
Young lady! I wish you wouldn't stare at me like that. I have no choice. I'm just doing my job.
I know. You're on my side, aren't you, Gregson? Aren't you?
Young lady! Of course I am.
It looks like a complicated relationship is beginning to bloom, doesn't it? Poor Detective Gregson.
Detective, you were at the prosecutor's office 3 days ago dropping off some documents, correct?
Yes, sir, but I...
And you witnessed the defendant out in front of my office door. Is that also correct?
Yes, sir. However, that was...
In that case, witness, you will testify about what you saw at the time.
Understood, Your Honor.
I think I only have time for him to actually explain, but I don't think we have time to actually press him. At least for this video. What I witnessed.
I saw the young lady emerge from Prosecutor Van Zieks' office that day. She appeared to be sneaking around, and when she noticed the prosecutor, she fled. I called out to her, we had a brief conversation, then went our separate ways. The young lady was indeed carrying a paper bag at the time. Just as the prosecutor said, it's natural to assume that the stolen chalice was inside.
So you saw the defendant come out of the office?
Yes. I couldn't help wondering at the time what she'd been doing in Lord Van Zieks' office.
Oh, you're so mean, Gregson.
Hey now, young lady. All I said was what I saw.
In any case, it seems that this proves it. This girl broke into my office on the day of the incident.
Mr. Naruhodō. Yes? What have you done? Suddenly we're back into a corner! You're blaming me? They make such a comedic duo, I love it.
In that case, the defense will conduct its cross-examination.
Of course, that's elementary, dear Judgy. Home-san looks pretty confused. Yeah, this'll be great. It's fine. He's a detective, the greatest detective. He'll be able to do this cross-examination just fine. We'll find out in the next video. I'll see you guys then.
You will testify about what you saw at the time.
Woo! Understood, Your Honor.